Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
Ha-ha, here we are. Welcome to the Frank Skinner Absolute Radio Midweek podcast, which is like when the wrestling used to be on the telly and on Saturdays on World of Sport. And then there used to be a late night Wednesday night show that Kent Walton used to present. And I remember at the end he'd say, "Happy Thursday, Friday. See you Saturday." Which I've read. And he also used to say, "Hello, Grapple fans." Brilliant. Yes. So here we are, and I'm here with Emily and Gareth, of course, and start.
Abbey Road's closing, isn't it? Did you read about that?
Oh.
Because EMI...
Not the road.
No,
I don't want people think this is travel.
I was going to say, how am I going to get through to St John's Wood?
I know, it's going to be tricky. Well, there's a question and a half. I thought he was a celibate. So,
no, the studios.
Yes, the famous. Just out by where the zebra crossing is, where the Beatles did all their stuff.
Quite near Heels.
Is it near Heels?
Yeah, there's a branch of Heels. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's a good landmark for a certain sort of lady.
Yeah, so they're talking about they're going to have to close that down. It's a Beatles. It's a Beatles relic, obviously.
And Chris Evans has come out. He had an article in the paper in the middle of the week.
Oh, what's he said?
He said he's put his neck on the line. He said that Abbey Road Studios should be preserved as a museum to the Beatles.
Right.
Oh, I see.
Controversial.
Well, we can remember this is a man who's we're new kids on the block in this radio business. I like so he's saying that that Abbey Road should be saved because it's a Beatles thing. I think the first two tracks he played on his first show was All You Need Is Love and Baby You Can Drive My Car. And his advert on the telly was based on Twist and Shout by the Beatles. And I think, it's good when a DJ champions, a band, an obscure band, that need championing and sticks with, because, a lot of people thinking, well, I might check them out.
Yeah. Radio 2 listeners don't have their fingers on the pulse necessarily of the music
many
scene.
of them don't have a pulse. So people are going to think, well, if Chris Evans likes them, they're going to have something going for them.
Let's give those young boys from Liverpool a chance.
Yeah, let's Google them and see what other tracks they've done.
I used to say, when people say, what's your favourite Beatles song, I'd say Free as a Bird. You know that terrible one they did? That was that last one that was discovered.
I heard that being played. It was something like Radio Carlisle played that, and the DJ said, of course, being in radio, I actually spotted the edits on that. And I loved it so much, inside information. So, I'm going to check out the bit. There must be a greatest hits.
The Beatles, how do you spell it? B-E-E-T-L.
Well, it's funny you should say that, but I can't answer that without advertising a major airline. I mean, it closed down 20 years ago. Nevertheless.
We worked with someone once who said that he thought the Beatles were underrated.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
That was, let's say we worked with someone. It was the former producer of this show. And it was instrumental in producing that word, former.
Well, that was last year, so that would have been before they'd properly broken, maybe.
Well, that was before that Chris Evans, pushed them into the public domain, the way he has. Yeah, no one can say they're underrated now. Yeah, they are hot.
They're so hot right now.
Oh, I guess so. That was a good old Chris. We've had some email. We get emails in midweek, which is what I like. I don't just send them in for the show, people. So if you want to email us, it's absolute dot slash.
You don't know what it is, Frank Skinner.
No, but it'll be. Those will be components in it. It's just a matter of getting them in the right order. Absolute.
You can go
slash.
to the website.
Absolute slash. Don't send anything to that. You'll get quite the wrong website, I'm suspecting. Oh, I have it here. absoluteradio.co.uk, and then something else at the end that I can't read the writing off. Look, if you've tuned in to get this, you know, you're already on the website.
Well-
Don't stop being so stupid.
Speaking of the Beatles, we have an email in from someone with the surname McCartney.
Oh,
Johnny McCartney.
that's a fabulous link, if you don't mind me saying.
Is there someone
yeah,
in the Beatles
that was very,
called
that's very
McCartney
sort
then?
of regional TV news show of me, wasn't it? Dear Frank, Emily and Gareth, love the show. I've recently been downloading the podcast from the last year or so. Blah, blah, blah.
That's a lovely way of responding to someone who's taken the trouble to... Yeah, go on,
It
blah,
just
blah,
goes
blah.
on praising us.
I know, don't do too
Don't have
much
the time
praise.
for your praise.
I like when you read it.
I think you've all got really
Gives
interesting
me time to look up
voices.
if the Beatles got any tour dates. I can go and check them out. Carry on.
And as my girlfriend volunteers at London Zoo, I was
To
imagining...
do what?
I was imagining you
What
all
is
as
she,
animals.
food?
She might clean out the elephants or something. I was imagining you as
Can I just say there
animals.
are no elephants at London
Oh, no,
Zoo?
you're right, Frank. Sorry.
I like the idea of cleaning out the elephants. So what a job that would be. Okay, so she works at London Zoo.
Yeah. So as a result, Johnny McCartney was imagining us as animals. Frank, he sees as a white gibbon with a bow tie and a waistcoat on.
What I like about that is like years of me thinking, well, I like to think I do a bit of clever comedy. I think, I like to feel that I use my vocabulary and blah, blah, blah. People at home thinking, very Gibbon-like, isn't he? Immensely Gibbon-like.
I like that he's put you in a sort of Brummy club as well, with your bow tie and your waistcoat.
Yeah, but you know what's odd about it? It feels right to me as well. The white
does.
Gibbon with the...
With the waistcoat.
yeah.
Okay, Emily, an ostrich wearing a diamond necklace and very probably a tiara.
Oh, I feel you've been ostracised. Yeah, so he's obviously got your slight grandness. I don't know quite where the ostrich
He's
thing
got
is.
the measure of me.
Yeah.
Gareth.
I suppose it's a slightly rough old bird.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Well, my ostrich won't be talking to your gibbon. There'll be no fraternising between the species after comments like that.
Oh no, you've hurt her feelings and she's put her head in the sand.
Hey.
Gareth, a Yemen chameleon with Doc Martin boots and an Alex James circa 1996 floppy haircut.
A Yemen chameleon.
Very specific, Johnny
Yeah,
McCartney.
very Yemen.
Oh, Yemen chameleon. That's what you are.
I've been thinking about
Do you
that
come and go?
sometimes.
Yeah, okay. Just go next time.
Yeah.
Sorry,
See?
everyone. Sorry.
Are your colours like my dreams?
That's the trouble with being simian by nature. It's one who's inclined to chatter and be mischievous. That's what I find.
Yeah, but you've got that terrible white fur. It gets all dirty. You look grubby.
I've got white fur, but my behind throws a red glow that makes the entire area behind me looks like it's the house of
Yeah.
prostitution.
But in a fight, I think we all know who's going to win, guys.
What? What?
The tiara
Ostrich?
wearing ostrich.
Ostrich versus Gibbon versus... What are you again? A Yemen chameleon? We've got to find the Yemen chameleon
Yeah.
for a start. Yeah, he's going to be changing. Maybe they don't do that, the Yemen ones. Is it Yemen? Or is it Yeah Man chameleon? Anyway.
Yemen.
Okay, so...
Thanks for that, Johnny.
We have had an email from Luke Smith, and he says, "Dear Frank and Gareth, I am a 15-year-old boy
all right.
who has for a long time enjoyed comedy. However, I've often
Well, not that long.
No,
I mean, it's all relative. What's he called, sorry?
Luke Smith.
Luke,
Although
okay.
it's spelled Smythe. He sounds quite posh. I like the sound
Do you
of
think
him.
it might be Smythe?
I think he should adopt the stage name Warm. Luke.
Luke
There was
Warm.
a time
Oh,
when...
that's good.
when I first started in comedy, there was lots of people with those kind of...
Yeah.
There was a...
Or he could have Luke Casade.
Yeah, Luke Casade would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke
So
out. If he worked in the north. There was a comedian called Dwayne Pipe, I remember. It used to be around when I started. Used to be quite the thing, the funny comedy. It's all gone now. Everyone's got straight. So anyway, so what was Luke saying?
yeah, Luke is saying, I've enjoyed comedy for a long time. However, I've often longed to be a comic myself. I have done a little 5-minute set with a school programme, but would love to become a better comic. Any suggestions? From Luke. P.S.
Uh-huh.
Despite Emily's age, I think Despite Emily's age, I think she is a beautiful woman. Pity I'm a few years younger.
Oh, Luke.
I think that was one of his jokes.
Well, I'll let him off the age reference.
Yeah, I think the beautiful woman was a leg pull, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
No,
okay.
no, I think that's sincere. But I think, Luke, if you're going to call someone a beautiful woman, avoid the word despite.
At all costs.
At all costs.
Yeah, well, you've learnt that if you haven't learned about comedy. The only advice I ever got from senior comedians when I started was one of them said to me, never leave your wallet in the dressing room, which I never have.
Really?
I must admit. But actually, how to be, what would you say, Gareth?
I think
You're nominated for the Chortle Best Newcomer Award, which people can vote for on the Chortle website.
I think, well, the best advice I've had is just to keep going, keep doing it. Keep going. Like people said funnier people than them had given up. Just keep going longer than everyone else.
Oh, okay. Did I give you this advice? It sounds like
keeping on.
What's basically kept me going is keeping going. Yes. Well, yes.
But you have to. The only way you get better is to carry on doing it, isn't it?
Well, don't look at
Everyone's
me.
rubbish at the
The
start.
only advice I can give you is don't sleep with them. Other than that,
Yes.
And for a 15-year-old boy, that's good advice.
Yeah. I seem to remember getting lots of advice early on along the lines of get off. But
Yeah.
that was, I don't know who that was from. That was Voices in the Darkness.
Ignore the audience early on.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you're right, you've got to get up there. I'd like to hear the 5-minute set done for a school programme. What is the school programme?
I think like something that's been programmed in at a school.
No.
An activity.
That's not true, is it?
Yeah.
Couldn't they have their own little video TV channel?
They could have done that.
I think we should have... Luke should send that in, and we should check him out, and then we can do a workshop. That's what I'm thinking, if you're listening, Luke. Or if you're Luking, listen. Oh, no.
Stop, Luke, and listen.
but if you do go on to become a comedian, I won't be able to date you, I'm afraid.
What, because he's too young?
No, because he'll be a comedian.
Would you never, ever date another comedian?
No.
Oh, bitterness.
No,
Scar
not
tissue.
bitter. Just knowledge, my friend.
Experience, not prejudice.
Experience.
Judas.
Yeah.
I find that aren't comics I find them to be the most intelligent group of people on the planet.
Well, I agree with you, obviously.
Yeah, but do you know when I met politicians, they tend to be blithering idiots, whereas I think more or less every comedian I've ever met is smarter than the average bear,
But,
and a bit mental.
But
Yeah.
maybe a little bit obsessed with themselves above everything else. Yeah, probably.
I'm taking
I
the
think-
Fifth Amendment on this one.
Yeah, okay.
Fair enough. Speaking of being obsessed with yourself, did you read that?
Chris Evans.
Simon, no, we've done him. Simon,
We've destroyed his reputation. Who's next?
I think he's. I premiered a film. There's a thing at the British Film Institute.
Oh, yeah.
Where I did it on Monday night. I did it, and you introduce a film that had a major influence, on your life to share it with people. And I did this film called Lenny, which is about this American comic. I'm guessing that Chris Evans will be doing Hard Day's Night. Here's one you'll have missed. But trust me, just bear with me.
They've got something, those
Yeah,
boys.
they've got something. I think he's going to go for the ginger fringe cut. That'd be fabulous. Now, Simon Cowell proposed this week.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And I've never heard of this before. And it's odd because I've never questioned this. That I've never proposed to anyone. Not marriage, anyway. And I always assumed that it was done with just the two of you together. But Simon Cowell, how many people? It's like a dinner party.
Well, his ex-girlfriend was there, which in itself seems a slightly odd person to invite along to a proposal. And her husband, I believe, possibly some, publicists or something.
I imagine he hangs around mainly with publicists.
Yeah.
So his ex-girlfriend was there when he proposed to the new woman?
Yeah, over dinner. And he got out the 250k sparkler. That's what the tabloid said
They're
anyway.
fireworks.
How big a sparkler would that be? If someone got out a 250 quid sparkler, I'd be out of that room like a shot. Because when that gets lit, that's going to be like some sort of terrible solar explosion. No, but imagine being asked with people sitting there at the table. I mean, the pressure.
Well, you couldn't say no. Well, you wouldn't say no to Simon, would you? Who would say no to Simon?
Someone else who was very rich, maybe. But
no, I like Simon. I met him once, and he was lovely. That's all I'm going to say.
Did you say no? Did you say no to him? Yeah.
Well, when you proposed, Gareth, you're the only one here, I presume, who's proposed.
You've been married. How did that happen?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. I'd completely forgotten about that.
He was drunk, he couldn't remember.
I don't think I did propose, you know. I think I just...
Well, how did you end up getting married?
No, honestly, I don't remember any proposal as such.
Right.
I think I just...
A war of attrition. Just a slow dawning.
I think it was like a surprise, you know. Let's go out, and do you mind wearing this white dress?
A surprise wedding.
That's a really good point, though. I do not remember any sort of proposal at all.
But you don't remember much prior to 1992.
No, true. But I was sober at the time. Oh, I'll dwell on that. So, how did you propose?
I did it on the bridge between Windsor and Eton, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I got Laura. We went and.
Oh, were you at school at the time?
In a little shop, no. But I did go to school in Eton. But,
how fabulous!
But primary school, so not anything
never mind.
that would impress you.
So how did you do it?
I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me, and she got me an engagement earring.
Well, I suppose as you were down on one knee, it was the right level for fitting that. So you didn't get her an engagement ring?
Yeah, no, I did as well. Yeah.
Oh, so there was jewellery all over the place. Yeah. Oh. So, God, you've really got me now that I can't remember proposing. It's quite a big thing, isn't it?
It is.
You didn't consider, you know, some people do quite elaborate plans and they hide the ring and all that and go for a walk, and then you didn't think I'd just tuck it under the bridge.
No, that's...
Well, sorry about that. That was more of a wedding night thought. Yeah. You didn't risk that.
No, I didn't do anything like that.
Oh, okay. Well, I very much like the idea of the ex-girlfriend as well, because you've got to be pretty confident that relationship is completely dead in the water to propose to someone else. Perhaps he could have hidden the ring in his ex-girlfriend. Without her even...
And just give his, wife to be a knife and slash her way in.
What he could have done is he could have proposed to the ex-girlfriend out of the blue. She, so she's wearing the engagement ring, and that could have been his hoax. And he could have said, will you marry me? And just reached across and said, here's the ring here.
Or maybe he wanted to reserve, so he said he wanted to ask that woman to marry me, and if she said no, he'd go, well, what about you?
Oh, I've done that on horrible nights after gigs, saying, you want to come to my room, and someone said no, and I've said to the mate, what about you? Oh. Isn't that terrible? Oh. Yeah, I feel bad looking back on that. And then the other mate, what about you? Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone who'll still be up?
Oh, God. Can you imagine being person number 3 in that ghastly chain?
When it's someone who you haven't seen who then turns up and you've already committed, that's like a blind ballot. Right? I mean, that's fabulous. That is quite exciting, but also slightly terrifying. But I have done that. I have got, have you got any friends that want to come over?
Oh.
I know. It's terrible.
You were asking me why I'd never date another comedian. I think you just answered your own question.
Yeah, fair play.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.